Hey everybody, it's your favorite blended family, Chelsea.
And this is Damien.
Welcome back. On today's episodes, we want to share a couple of things with you guys. Number one, what are some common misconceptions about entrepreneurs and 5 tips to help you get started?
Then we're going to be doing an interview on what it means to be properly coached and mentored.
And lastly, we're going to do our How to Date Your Wife segment. On this segment, we're actually going to review a new restaurant that we tried down in Los Angeles and share with you our experience.
Don't forget, babe, True Love campaign. I'm excited, guys. Officially found out we're going to be going live on Wednesday with the True Love campaign to make sure we're fundraising for those in need in the 10 cities in the greater Bay Area.
Awesome. So let's jump into this. First off, we want to talk about just some common misconceptions about entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship. I know if this is not a world that you've been in before, it can be kind of mysterious. I know we've had family and friends kind of ask us what it's like to be an entrepreneur. What does it mean? What do you guys actually do? So, babe, do you want to go ahead and share some misconceptions that maybe we've personally experienced or people who are entrepreneurs like us have been asked by friends, family, and acquaintances?
Man. Let me tell you, when I was like, yo, I want to become an entrepreneur, I felt like I was Superman, you know what I'm saying, jumping, faster than a speeding bullet, faster than the speed of light. But let me tell you, becoming an entrepreneur and making that jump, man, there's a lot of things. Let me just say this, be ready to expect the unexpected. So we're going to give you 3 misconceptions, guys, 3 different things that people think are going to automatically happen because you decide to jump into the fishbowl of becoming an entrepreneur. Misconception number 1. Who remembers the first time they got a full-time job?
I do.
And when you got that full-time job, how many hours a week did you typically work?
I worked a good 40 hours per week, and I did some overtime because I had just graduated from college, and I knew that I needed to pay my student loans and other bills.
So let me ask you a question. When you worked OT, did you get paid extra?
Yes.
Okay. And did you get paid an hourly wage on your 40 hours?
Yep.
Well, one misconception that I have both experienced and coached others in dealing and addressing is the 40-hour work week. Guys, let me tell you right here, those of you who are running your own businesses and becoming entrepreneurs, you guys know this, and I'm sure you're chuckling in the background, but most employees, most people who work a job, who go to work and clock in and clock out are typically going to work a 40-hour work week. And the law says if you work over 40 hours, you are entitled to overtime. Well, let me just give you guys some statistics. On average, your entrepreneur, you guys ready for this? Works 63% longer per week than your job employee. And let me ask you this question. Do we get paid OT when we work OT?
Absolutely not.
Is somebody cashing us out some additional dollars?
Definitely not.
Can I expect Christmas to come early when we working late?
Well, that's a different story. But I know my mom, when we really started getting into our business, my mom kind of made the comment like, man, I see you less now than I did when you worked, over 40 hours a week as a hospital manager. So what I tell people is just because I'm an entrepreneur or business owner doesn't mean that I work less. In fact, the opposite is true, that I definitely work more. It's just a matter of who I'm working for.
And, misconception number 1 leads right into misconception number 2. Man, I'm going to start this T-shirt business. I'm going to start my lemonade stand. I'm going to go do this online, blah, 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 and sell these widgets. And I'm going to do what? Get rich quick. Oh, man, I'm going to make so much money. This is going to be super dope. Guys, misconception number 2. When you become an entrepreneur, you will immediately make money. Let me tell you something. Go ahead and Google the average time frame it takes an entrepreneur to make money. And you can see different publications. And here's the raw data. Here's just the truth of the matter. You ready for this? On average, it takes entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs 4 years just to solidify their business, just to really know who they are, know how to run their business, operate correctly, find good people to partner with, get affiliates in the community, right? It's going to take you 4 years, guys. to solidify that business. And then on average, it's going to take 7 to 10 years to become successful. And, when I read that, it's like, dang, that's a long time. But let me ask you this question. How many years does it take to retire if you work for a job?
40 years?
People generally work to what
30,
age?
65.
60, 65, right? So
yes.
If I'm 39 today, the question I ask myself is, am I willing to work my tail off 10 years to get where I want to be in life versus 40 years and depending on a pension or some form of retirement? Although that misconception is very true, I gotta say, that 10-year plan sounds a lot better. How's that sound to you, babe? Does 10 years sound pretty good to you?
I'll take it.
You'll take it?
I'll take it. Okay, last misconception here that we got. Huge misconception, I think, for entrepreneurs is that all of your friends and family are going to automatically support you in your new business, right? Man. We get all excited. No. I got my business license. I started this business. My friends and family love me. They're going to be first in line to support me. I'm
going to sell some J's to Ray Ray. Pumpkin going to grab this shirt from me. Oh, man, I'm going to get rich. The family, yeah, they going to come to my concert. Heck yeah, dude. Like, it's going to be on and popping.
Right. And unfortunately, that's not always the case.
Nah.
But, on the other hand, there are definitely friends and family members who will support you. But not everyone is going to get behind you in your new business.
Guys, rule of thumb. When you start a business, don't have a prescribed audience in mind. Don't say, all of my homeboys or all of my girlfriends are going to be the reason my business makes it or doesn't, right? You want to do a proper SWOT analysis. You want to create a proper business plan, and you want to make sure there's a market and there's a lot of demand for what you are aiming to supply. Very simple economics. You don't want to get too complicated, but you also don't want to say, I'm going to run my business on the back of your family. And also, let me say this. You don't want your friends and family feeling like all of a sudden, you're using them. Mm-hmm. That's another awkward thing that you don't want to be caught up in is, all your loved ones are like, you're trying to make me buy all of these
trinkets,
vacuums. I gotta buy all your knives, and you know what I'm saying?
Sweat belts, bands, workout bands, whatever it may be.
So make sure it makes sense. Make sure whatever it is you're bringing to market has a high demand from people outside of just your close circle, and you can be successful. Along with that, guys, let's talk about some tips. Now that we've addressed some misconceptions that people are dealing with in business, let's talk about 5 tips that can help you get where you want to go. Babe, you want to talk about the first one?
Sure. Number 1, as an entrepreneur, it's extremely important that you consistently have a growth and learning mindset. As an entrepreneur, you're going to be constantly learning new things about yourself, new things about your business, and how to run it effectively. So I think one of the most beneficial things to have is to constantly seek information and constantly apply that to how to better run your business and how to be a better entrepreneur.
And to piggyback that, tip number 2, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but we'll also be going into more detail today with having people share their stories. But guys, you never want to go into business blind. You never want to go and start a new venture trying to figure it out along the way, right? You don't want to stumble into success. And although it does happen, we talked about it before, the fastest way to become successful, the fastest way to become a millionaire, the fastest way to duplicate something that's extremely well is to have somebody mentoring, coaching, training you through that process. So tip number 2 is identify somebody in that field or that industry that you see as successful and reach out to them. You may use a means like LinkedIn, or you may have an uncle, or you may have a friend who has a family member. Whatever is needed, ask them to lunch, buy them a cup of coffee, all right, beg their pardon, and take and make access to that person who can help you reach your goals in a much quicker time frame than trying to struggle and do it on your own.
Tip number 3 would definitely be to learn the system. And for me, I think part of learning the system is learning how to track your business. Whether we're talking about marketing, whether we're talking about inventory, whether we're talking about retaining customers, it's essential that you learn the system and that you're able to track your business so you can see how it grows, analyze how it grows, and where you need to improve in your business.
Tip number 4, you don't want to make the leap blindly. Right. And so when you're saying, hey, I'm tired of working at Taco Bell, you know what I'm saying? I'm the shift manager and they pay me $17.65 an hour and I feel like I'm worth more than that. Don't quit Taco Bell until you know your business works. Make a gradual release from the employee mindset to becoming a business owner as an entrepreneur, right? So if you're in a position where you're working a 40-hour work week, my recommendation is for the first 60 to 90 days, continue to work your full-time schedule and then supplement that on the side with your job. We call that a hustle. Right? I'm hustling on the side, right? Oh, I work at Home Depot and then I drive Uber on the side to collect additional income so that I can start my business. Do that for 60 days. And then even when you're to a position when you're actually making money, you can kind of systematically predict what's going to happen next. Start your business part-time. You never want to put all your eggs in one basket where you're like sink or swim. I'm not going to be able to pay my mortgage. I'm not going to be able to feed my family. I'm not going to be able to live a comfortable life if this thing that I've started doesn't get off the ground. Don't put yourself in that type of stressful anxiety, right? Make sure you're allowing yourself time to learn properly. Like Chelsea said, to get your mindset and self-develop correctly. So starting out in a position where you can hustle, and then hit a part-time basis while you're making a double income, right? You continue to make your income at your job, but you're also doing your, starting your business and making income from that. Before you say, I'm going to commit to full-time doing this business and all of my income, all of my assets, all of my eggs are going to fit in this basket and I better win. That's not a safe way to start your business.
Okay, and that leads us to our last tip. It's kind of a rule of thumb when starting your business to have at least 3 to 6 months of savings. As Damien mentioned earlier in the misconceptions about being an entrepreneur, it can often take months, if not sometimes years, for people to make income from their business. So just to set people up for success on their journey to becoming an entrepreneur, it's definitely prudent to have 3 to 6 months of savings at least before you just up and quit any other source of income.
And here's what I ask you guys to do. I'd like for you guys to visit our webpage, visit our IG, visit our Facebook, and tell us your story. Tell us what it is. Maybe you are in the process of dreaming about becoming an entrepreneur and you have an idea. Share that on our page. Or maybe you're currently an entrepreneur and you feel like you have a very successful story you'd like to share. I want to hear it. Or maybe you're somebody who's saying, listen, the idea of becoming an entrepreneur sounds great. The concept of running my own business sounds excellent, but I have no idea what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I need somebody to help me, to coach me, to train me, and I'm seeking out a mentor. I'm seeking out a coach. Please reach out. We'd love to direct you and get you the support you need so that you can feel you're getting the necessary skills you need to become an entrepreneur. You're in for a treat. This time we're bringing in an entrepreneur couple, young lad and a young lady, killing it in business, super proud of them. You know what I'm saying? It's good to see young people who aspire to have big dreams. And so I wanted to introduce to you guys today, Francesca and Calvin. Guys, say hi to our peoples.
How y'all doing?
How you doing?
So again, I'm going to, first of all, just give you guys a couple minutes. Take a couple minutes and tell us about who you are, where you're from, and what gave you the mindset to want to be an entrepreneur.
I'm Francesca, also known as Frankie. If you ever watch Set It Off, you know who Vivica Fox play.
All right.
But I'm from here in the East Bay. I actually come from the restaurant industry. I was a bartender and a server, but now I am a current junior broker. About to be a co-owner, but I am working my way up. But yes, that's exactly what I'm doing right now. Where I come from is humble beginnings. Both of my parents come from the island.
So how y'all doing? My name is Calvin. I'm from Hayward.
Stack, baby. Haystack in the house.
Calvin like Calvin Klein. I just ain't got the fancy drawers like them. But I grew up in the Bay Area. I went to Chabot. I did the high school, college thing. Just your typical Bay Arean.
So before we jump into this mentor thing, talk to me. What prompted you guys? First of all, how old are you, Francesca?
24.
And Calvin, how old are you?
26.
So what prompted you guys? You know, you guys aren't following the traditional go to college, get good grades, get a good job. Like, what prompted you guys to want to be entrepreneurs instead?
To be honest, I actually, from where I come from, it wasn't common for my family to go to college and to go to, you know, get the big degrees behind their name. And for me, I had seen entrepreneurship, but I was exposed to it in, I would say, the wrong way.
Okay.
So when I came across, you know, having the opportunity to having a legitimate business where I could have full control of my time, control of my own money, control of my schedule, it was a turn on. It was very appealing to me to say, hey, you know, you can start something and own something. And for me, I was always a hard worker. I could work any type of job, teach me how to do it. I'm going to dominate it. But I never was exposed to something to where I call the shots.
Got it. Calvin, how about you? Talk to me.
I mean, she basically bagged it in the bag. Like, we don't got a boss. I don't clock in and out. I wake up when I want to wake up. I mean, I wish I would have found entrepreneurship sooner as far as on paperwork. But
same thing.
I really just love it. Like, I wake up, I don't got to ask to go to the potty. I don't got to ask to go, oh, can I take my lunch break? Can I take my break? Like, no, we actually have control over time and money, like she said.
Sweet. So now that we know you guys are entrepreneurs, let's talk about this deal because, Chelsea and I have been delving into this mentor relationship. And I want to know from you guys. You guys sound like, you're doing well. You guys are young entrepreneurs, which is super exciting. First things first. Why do you value having a mentor? Maybe we'll ask this one to you, Frankie. So Frankie, let's do this one for you. Why do you value having a mentor?
I value it because I never had it. Like I said, I was never exposed to big dreams or big goals or anything. My dad's from Samoa and my mom's from the Philippines. So we were, we never did it. Our people never did anything really too big. We could just lift big things, if you know what I mean.
But ice plant. I know about that ice plant.
As far as the value that it gave me was guidance. Where I come from, it's always, all one man for himself. And, it's a survival mentality and you got to get it on your own. But, having a mentor, not even just a mentor that says, okay, Damian, you and Chelsea are living a great lifestyle. But at the same time, you're also, you come from where I come from. The fact that you have somebody investing time and energy to you to say, hey, I've paved the way for you and I want to see you win. That's just a whole nother game plan. That's just a whole, my mom and dad can say, hey, I want you to be like this and try to pave the way. But mom and dad, I don't really like the lifestyle that you live in, to be honest. So I'm not too sure if, I'm going to, I love you, I respect you, but the mentorship or that you're trying to give me is to be like you. And that's definitely not where I'm trying to go.
Salute.
So
I definitely respect that. Callie, killer. Talk to me, brother. What are 2 lessons that you've learned since you've actually started gaining the opportunity to be mentored by someone else? Like, what are 2 things that you said, man, these are 2 takeaways that have really helped me grow as an entrepreneur?
Being that as you guys are my mentor, one of the things that's really tangible for me is that the fact that we all come from the Bay Area and you guys have made it out enough to where you guys built a business and you guys are actually teaching other people how to build a business. And I just found that to be very helpful. First lesson is that it's actually tangible to make it out. And the second one is how you really do treat people can differ how your business goes, or how you treat people really does deter if you can make it long-term in the business.
Talk to me about that a little bit more. What do you mean by your ability or non-ability to make it long-term in business? What do you mean?
Well, in this business, you can either do 2 things. Long-term gain, unless you want to run around and actually doing the footwork, doing it yourself. But in this industry, if you build and you help people build their business, you're able to sustain a longevity of residual.
Okay. Residual time, residual income, all that good stuff?
Man, anything.
Salute. I like it. Again, talking to young entrepreneurs, we're talking about the importance of having a mentor, helping you grow in business. And man, it's a powerful thing. Frankie, let's get back to you. And in this one, you can be as transparent as you want to be. This is your opportunity. But I'd like for you to tell us a story of how your mentor helped you overcome a major issue.
Like I said, I come from, I would say, the rough side of the streets. Growing up where I grew up, it was a lot of the ghetto. I was exposed to where, gang banging was common, killing, getting robbed. All of those was common. People selling drugs, women, selling themselves in the streets. All of those things were common. So my mentality was always, that's regular. When I was in transition of, getting out and doing things, the more positive way, the more legitimate way, there's a lot of mindsets and habits that have to be broken. So me having a mentor, for one, you have somebody that's, cheering you on. You have somebody that is coaching you, letting you know what's wrong and what's right. But having the challenge of, being battled back with your old ways, your old habits that have never gotten you anywhere to be successful. And, how easy it is to say, just forget it. I'm going to go back. I'm going to do it the easy way. And one of my mentors, what he did was he reminded me, for one, that going back to what I was going to go back to was nothing. There was nothing valuable there. And what he helped me do was, he helped me stay on track. But I think that the biggest thing of it was the impact that it ripples on to the family, the friends that would have been included with the decisions that I would have made. I could be, 6 feet underneath. I could be locked up. I used to do whatever by any means necessary to put food on the table for my family, and not knowing that I was taken away from other people. And what my mentor was able to show me was that, look, you can provide and do what you want to do the right way and get these benefits, but it's just a little bit of a more effort, a little bit of a harder path, but it's worth it.
Wise man once said, a hustler may make $1, but a business lasts for legacy.
Man.
So I appreciate seeing your growth and development from a young hustler from the hood to becoming a businesswoman who, like you said, man, junior broker on her way to ownership. That's a big deal.
Thank you.
Proud of you, Frankie.
Thank you.
A lot of people are intimidated by, the word mentor. For a long time, I was kind of like, I don't want no mentor. Like, I don't need no mentor. I'm a man. Like, I'm an alpha. I got this, right? And so in its correct manner, like, what do you think the mentor-mentee relationship looks like? What are the components? What are the parts? What makes it effective? What makes it work well? What should the mentor and mentee do in form of communication in order for it to be successful?
Well, for starters, for any relationship to actually work, there has to be communication. A lot of times people won't listen to somebody if they don't know your story. So a lot of times you have to really resonate and let them know where you actually come from and actually know who you helped, and, let the person know who you're actually mentoring, that you know where they're at, you've been where they're at, and you're trying to help them get to where you're at. I really feel like mentorship is really ideal just because it does play a big role in seeing that positive figure in your life, and to show you, like, okay, they're doing this, but he's doing this and he's excelling better with less worries and stress. Communication is key. Being honest is key. Not hiding nothing is key as well. If you feel like your mentor shouldn't say this, or you feel like you and your mentor need to go and have a walk about this, I would say do that opposed to holding. That goes for any relationship.
Let me ask you a question. Because I think a word that really struck me, or at least I had a lot of fear of initially, was authenticity. But I always felt like the guy who wants to mentor you is like, man, you trying to be my dad.
Right.
Man, hold on, boy. You know what I'm saying? So, like, how can you tell if that relationship is authentic? Like, what are the components? Or maybe, Frankie, you can chime in on this. Like, how do you know that a relationship with the mentor is actually authentic and one that you can trust and build and develop it?
I think the number one thing is what you just said, trust. You got to trust. But how does that even happen? You ask me, I'm going to say number one is just genuine love. It got to come from a heart of love, of where it's not, I'm mentoring you because I want to get something out of you. I'm mentoring you because I genuinely want to see you do good. And, we're human. We going to fight all the time. Me and Calvin fight all the time. But knowing that our foundation is what I'm saying comes from a place of love, that's where it all kind of begins, where the trust is implemented.
I respect that. Well, listen, guys, I really appreciate your time. It was definitely a pleasure having an opportunity to hear. Guys, we're talking about a 24 and a 26-year-old who are running a business that could potentially change the legacy of them and their families down the road. I have nothing but admiration for you guys. I really appreciate you guys taking time to be a part of this conversation. And I look forward to seeing you guys growing in the future.
Thank you.
I have big plans. Hopefully you guys have big dreams.
Yes. I got to correct that, though. It's not we can, but it's we will, baby.
There it is. I received that. Salute to you guys, and definitely look out for this on our deal. Let everybody know that you guys are going to be interviewed by She Said, He Said. Chelsea and I have been talking to you guys the first 2 episodes about She Said, He Said, and talking about our experiences and meeting each other. But we also wanted to introduce to you guys another segment that we will be continuing throughout this as well, and it's called How to Date Your Wife. And we'd like to intro it via our podcast initially, but however, we will be adding the blog to our webpage. And so you guys will always be invited to see the pictures, our experiences, and our ratings on a bi-weekly basis. And what we'll be doing is going to different restaurants and different experiences, both locally and abroad, and giving you guys our 1 thumbs up, 2 thumbs up, or for show thumbs down.
And there are a couple of categories that we'll be basing our review on, 4 categories to be exact. 1, we're going to be talking about the ambiance. 2, the level of service and if we approved of it. 3, the quality of the food, flavor, things like that. And then 4, as my husband said, we're going to give it a thumbs up, a thumbs down, or a
your stuff is trash. Nah, oh, you might get the trash can. So yeah, so just consider us your everyday, we're going to be like Yelp 2019. You can take our ratings to the bank because we always say the good, the bad, and definitely the ugly.
We're not food snobs, but we do know what good food and good service is. You're a food snob?
Yes.
Okay.
I am. Connoisseur, to be exact.
So the place that we ate at is called Rock Sugar. As we mentioned, this is in Los Angeles in the Beverly Hills / Westwood area. My initial thoughts of it, the ambiance was amazing. We walked in. So when you walk in, the floor is made up of stone. So it's a stone floor. You walk through this corridor where there's an open skylight and there's kind of couches and lounge chairs in this corridor. And when we went in there, we were told that people like to go there, especially during the summer, just on weeknights or weekends, because they have this open skylight. People can have drinks, cocktails, they can converse and have some appetizers. So I thought that was really nice. It's an Asian fusion type restaurant. So that was the theme of the decorations. After we passed through this corridor, we were greeted by the hostess. They seated us right away, so I had no complaints about that. But the ambiance, kind of dimly lit, definitely a place that you would take someone for a business meeting. You could take a date or even just friends or family. But I thought the ambiance was really nice. What did you think, babe?
Scale of 1 to 10, what do you give it?
Ambiance-wise, I give it a good 8.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
8.5. Well,
It sounds like you would give it an 8.5, so I'm curious to know what you thought.
Well, I won't give it an 8.5, but I will give it a 9. So I liked it as well. Here's what I will say about it. I just feel like, being a kid from NorCal versus SoCal, it just feels like they always had an additional touch in Hollywood land. And so when you go to SoCal, when you're chilling out there in La La Land, the City of Angels and all that stuff, they take the extra time to make sure the aesthetics and the things on the outside, look really good. But another thing we all know about LA is the outside, everything that glitter ain't gold. And so although the ambiance was a 9, next thing we're going to talk about is food. And although the food looked the part, let's talk about, did it taste the part? We ordered, we ordered the pork belly buns. We ordered chicken pho. Oh, chicken.
We're going to get into the individual items.
Chicken pho, the Brussels sprouts, smacking.
Sauteed Brussels sprouts.
The sauteed Brussels sprouts. We got the shrimp garlic noodles. And did we get one other thing? That's it.
Was it? Yeah.
Oh, no. We got the shrimp and chicken dumplings.
I must not have tried that.
That's right. Shrimp and chicken dumplings. So I did eat them all. Actually, me and our guest ate them all. So let's go one by one. We're going to start out with the shrimp and chicken dumplings. Like Cho said, I was hoarding them. I was eating them. They were really good. Definitely no complaints. I did ask the waiter for their opinion, and she did let me know that they tasted well. And so I tried them out. Succulent, good flavor, temperature is correct, consistency was really good. I have to say, of the food I ordered, I continued to go back to it because I wanted to find something that my palate actually enjoyed. Mm-hmm. And there weren't a lot of other options based upon the things that we ate.
So the item that I ordered and was actually looking forward to, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm under the weather. I had the flu the past 7 days, so I'm finally starting to feel better. But at the restaurant, I ordered chicken pho because I thought that would be something good for me to have since I was sick. Now, mind you, I grew up in San Francisco, which is like the hub of ethnic food. I grew up near Chinatown in San Francisco, and I grew up eating pho. And I'm talking about real pho at like a Vietnamese restaurant, okay? So I ordered this pho thinking that it would be similar to pho I've had as I've grown up, and it was nothing like the pho that I know. It wasn't even as good as ramen noodles. I would take ramen noodles over this. But this chicken pho I got, oh man, the broth was flavorless. And if you guys,
cold flavor.
If you are a pho connoisseur, you know that the broth is probably one of the most important parts of the pho in addition to the noodles. So broth had 0 flavor. The noodles seemed to be undercooked, which I don't even know how you do that. Probably because the broth was cold. Noodles were undercooked, and then it had like pieces of chicken breast in it, which, chicken breast is chicken breast. It came with, the garnish on it. So there was some cilantro, some basil, lime, things like that. But I must have took 3 or 4 bites of the pho. And I really wanted some soup because I was sick, but I couldn't eat anymore. So it was disgusting.
Stars. 5 stars is mwah, it was excellent, or 1 star is this is trash. Give me the trash.
Half a star. Half a star. I would never recommend that anybody order that.
Wow. So the chicken and shrimp dumplings, I definitely give 4 stars out of 5. It's very tasteful. I think it's an appetizer, so you can order from the appetizer menu. If you're gonna be there, that's definitely one you can order and feel confident that's gonna taste good. I'm gonna talk about something else. In fact, I think it was the most tasty thing we had on our dinner date, and that was the Brussels sprouts. Flavor. Man, they looked really fresh.
It was spicy.
They had spice going on. Man, the Brussels sprouts were, and again, it's something I maybe we should have stuck to asking the waiter, because I asked the male waiter this time, like, hey, what's a vegetable we could try? And he definitely recommended the Brussels sprouts, and my tummy was definitely happy that we chose that route because it really tasted good. Like, I think that was my favorite thing to eat while we were having dinner. And so I really appreciated that. If I had to, I'd give it 5 stars. I think I feel confident, comfortable saying those Brussels sprouts relative to, and your Brussels sprouts taste good, by the way. Your Brussels sprouts.
They were cooked well. They weren't like overcooked and mushy, but then they also were undercooked to where they're hard. The texture was really good, as well as the flavor. It was nice that it had that spiciness to it.
4.
Definitely added a different element to it.
What'd you give it?
I give it a 4 out of 5.
She's so dang picky.
I am kind of picky. But there is something that I did enjoy, so I definitely enjoyed it more than the pho. But we had the pork belly buns, and I'm not saying this is the greatest thing on the menu, but it did taste good. The pork belly buns are essentially slices of pork belly, so it has pork, but it has a little bit of fat on it. It's kind of like caramelized or glazed, and it's put in a bao. If you guys know what a Peking duck, it comes in the white, fluffy, delicious bao. Oh my gosh. Oh, sorry for you Americans. Bun, a bread bun, a white bread bun.
My language. Bun.
You know what that is? Okay. So it's slices of pork belly on a bao with slices of like cucumber and julienne carrots and, some sauce, hoisin sauce on it. So it actually tastes pretty good. It was tender. The pork belly was flavorful. And of course the bao was fluffy and delicious.
Stars.
I give it a 4.
What?
What do you give?
Pork belly, whatever, is 4 stars? It was definitely a solid 2.5.
No, it wasn't.
Definitely a solid 2.5.
That's because you don't appreciate a good
bow. Yeah, it made me want to have a bow movement. It was cool. I think I was expecting more because my cousin was like, Mac, this is what everybody gets. Da-da-da-da-da. Heck yeah, it's going to taste really good. My taste buds are just fine. And so, 3 is, here's the deal. I think it sounds to me like it's a go-to when you go to Rock Sugar. So I'm not saying don't get it, but Brussels sprouts was killing it. The Brussels sprouts was killing that. So I can't give it a 4 stars. It's definitely a solid 3.
You had the garlic noodles.
Also had the garlic noodles. So, there's this place in the Bay Area, and it's called Thang Long. And it is a second version or a family-owned version of crustaceans. And they have these garlic noodles that are like world-renowned. And so, my cousin's like, Mac, these garlic noodles, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So again, my palate is like super, super, super juiced. Mind you, we're not trying to eat a bunch of carbs, but I'm like, but you know what? These garlic noodles, they might be Thang Long status. Let's check them out.
I don't think any garlic noodles can compare to Thang Long.
It definitely was a solid mediocre. Solid 3 stars. Solid. If I was hungry, it's not something I would not order again, but it's definitely something. It's not something I'm going to be like, yo, I got to go back to Rock Sugar and get those garlic noodles. I'm definitely coming for the Brussels sprouts. The shrimp was cool, definitely fresh. The consistency, my wife would tell you, I'm a flavor guy, but I'm not a salt guy. So a lot of people say, oh, this food needs more flavor, and they start dousing it with salt. That makes my skin crawl. I like to taste the natural flavor in food, and I felt like these garlic noodles were like seasoning salt noodles. And so definitely wasn't thoroughly impressed, but again, it wasn't the worst thing on the menu. Talk to me now, Chelsea, about the service. How do we feel like the servers did?
I thought the servers did great. They were very attentive. They came by multiple times to refill our waters. They asked us if we needed anything, if we needed more plates to share the food. It is a family style restaurant, so that is something that they encourage people to do, is to share the dishes. But I thought it was good. I didn't get any sense that they were not paying attention to us or not servicing us well. But like you said, in LA, especially when you're in the Beverly Hills area, they're going to make sure that their service is top notch, especially for what people are paying.
Service was good.
Service was good? Okay. So would you go back to Rock Sugar, or would you recommend Rock Sugar to someone else? I know my answer.
I want to hear your answer first.
So, while Rock Sugar was an interesting experience, I don't think I would go back. For me, I would not trade flavor and quality food for ambiance. Ambiance was amazing, but if I had to choose between ambiance and actual delicious food, I would much rather take the delicious food. Again, I grew up in San Francisco. We have plenty of hole-in-the-wall restaurants that have amazing Italian food, amazing Chinese food. So that's just something that I prioritize. Definitely quality of food over the ambiance.
So is that 1 thumbs up, trash, or 2 thumbs up?
I give it 1.
1 thumbs up.
Yeah. It would be somewhere that, like I said, it would be nice to go on a date there and have a couple of drinks maybe and appetizers, but it's definitely not somewhere I would frequent.
So as far as I'm concerned, Rock Sugar is definitely a place, gentlemen. If you got a young lady and you want to impress her and say, hey, what's the new hip spot in town? And you want to, allow her to get lost in your eyes as the stars gaze above. And you want to see a whole bunch of Asian style thematic things that look expensive. And you want a cool shiny rock to sit on your table. I always wonder what that little shiny rock was for, but
it's to hold your place setting down.
Yeah. So they had this shiny rock and I kind of wanted to put it in my pocket. It looked pretty cool. I didn't take it. But yeah, if you want to go and impress a girl and feel like you're in it seems to me like that was one of those, like, it's in style kind of places. It's one of the hip spots to go to. That's your spot. But like my wife said, if you want to enjoy some really good food and be in a place where you're gonna actually taste food with really good flavor, not so much my spot either. I do believe and agree that it should be a 1 thumbs up. It definitely wasn't a horrible experience. I definitely don't want to make Rock Sugar feel like they're a bad place. I think it also didn't help, babe, that we were both extremely hungry. Like, we went there that day, like, stomach rumbling, like, man, feed me, Seymour. And so to actually eat the food and have half of it really be a disappointment, that didn't do Rock Sugar any favors, and it definitely didn't do us any justice. And so overall, I would say, again, 1 thumbs up. You do 1 thumbs up. Definitely not something that we're going to be in any hurry to go back to. It took... The company was fantastic. It was good to hang out and spend time with loved ones. I appreciate you for kicking in with us, brother. Next time, let's go find the hole-in-the-wall spot and eat some good food, if that's okay with you. So that wraps it up for our review. Be on the lookout. In the future, we will also be writing up a blog and shooting pictures and sharing the experience as well, so you guys can view it for your pleasure on our blog.